Welcome to The Middlemen, the show that delves into the critical issues affecting our country and explores the complexities of the system that shape our lives, from the economy and politics to social justice and infrastructure. We will be examining the middle grounds where different interests and perspectives intersect. Join me today as I make welcome Juro Olajumoke Alawode James, who will be discussing her case titled Live for You First, which cites the Idibia's divorce story as an example of the importance of prioritizing one's own needs and desires first. Also, on the show today, we have Juro from Rabbi and his case titled Our Policemen Have Gone Mad Again, which delves into the issue of police brutality, misconduct, and the erosion of trust between law enforcement and the communities they serve. And I, Juro Henry Igwebike, will present my case titled Exploiting the Pulpit for Personal Gain, an issue of individuals using their position of spiritual authority for personal benefits rather than serving the greater good. All of that till when we return is still The Middleman. Please don't go anywhere. Middleman. I make you welcome to The Middleman. My case, exploiting the pulpit for personal gain. Many Nigerian pastors wield significant influence over their congregations, often commanding unquestioning loyalty. This has created an environment where some pastors manipulate their followers for financial and political gains. They live in luxury, owning private jets and exotic cars and mansions, while their congregants struggle in poverty. This extravagant lifestyle are often funded through tithes, offerings, and sometimes direct involvement in corrupt activities such as money laundering and fraudulent schemes. With reference to Nigeria, some pastors have mastered the art of exploiting their congregants by promising financial breakthroughs in exchange for large donations. They propagate the prosperity gospel, which teaches that wealth is a sign of divine favor. In a country like ours, where economic hardship is widespread, this message encourages corruption as individuals, including public officials, seek wealth by any means necessary, believing it to be a divine blessing. Now, when you think that is not just enough, right before our eyes, we witness fruitful collaboration of pastors with corrupt politicians to seek public approval by aligning themselves with prominent gospel houses, while the GOs openly endorse them by offering them prayers and blessings in exchange for financial rewards. Rather than using their platforms to hold leaders accountable, some of these pastors provide a religious cover for corruption by assuring congregants that certain candidates are, hear this, God's chosen ones. And by that, they influence votes based on a personal gain rather than the public good. When you think that is still not enough, religious institutions and pastors have opened their windows and doors to some corrupt politicians and business people whom have used churches to launder stolen funds, knowing that religious organizations enjoy significant financial secrecy and tax exemptions. These illicit activities not only perpetuate corruption, but also damage the credibility of religious institutions. Now, let me go to my verdict for today. While many Nigerian pastors genuinely serve their communities, of course, with integrity, the actions of a corrupt few have tainted the image of religious leadership by aligning with corrupt politicians, engaging in fraudulent activities, and discouraging accountability. These pastors contribute to the overall country's systemic corruption. That's my verdict for today.
That's a very insightful case, Juro Henry, and I absolutely agree with your verdict, which is that we as a people, particularly in Africa, we need to decide for ourselves who God is to us, because I believe that religion ought to be personal. God is in your heart. Stop looking for God outside of you. A lot of us are looking for God outside of us, and therefore open ourselves up to deception from these religious leaders. And the core of any human being is their religious belief. You'd be surprised that somebody who is a professor or with a PhD, educated people, when they come, to the front of their religious leaders, they become like babies. They no longer use their brains. Whatever the pastor says to them is what God has said to them. And we leave all our intellect and intelligence aside and believe what this pastorpreneurs say to us. I've termed pastorpreneurs for some of these people who they're only also doing business for survival. And the easiest way is to get into the business of speaking on God's behalf, deceive a large population, ask them to give God money, ask them to sacrifice everything they've got for God, and then start to also play God in our lives, to the extent that any politician can walk up to them like what you cited in your case, and they will come to the population and say, oh, that's the anointed man of God. You'll be surprised that pastorpreneurs would get whatever reward, be it that the person is their friend or there's some reward, whatever reward, and say to a young lady who is promising that, oh, God said, this is your husband. Imagine saying to a lawyer, a lady lawyer, that the mechanic who comes to church is their husband, and the lady doesn't question, is our background, do we have any common interest? Is our background not going to be an issue? Is this man going to drag me down to the level of a mechanic, or am I able to drag him up to the level of a lawyer? Can we partner? Is there companionship? Is there friendship in such a relationship? Will a marriage between the two of us? But you will be surprised that lady will abandon all intellect and agree with the pastorpreneur man of God to say, oh, okay, all right, I'll only find out years down the line that the man lied to her. So we, the people, have to decide for ourselves to use our brains, believe in whatever God that you believe in, but at the same time test all spirits, like the Bible says. Do not be stupid in religion. And if we all keep our religions one to themselves, all of us each to themselves, society will be a better place. At every gathering, we pray, opening prayer, closing prayer, but in the middle of it all, we are negotiating how to steal. I don't believe God works like that.
Thank you,
sir. And the basic reason why it is very easy to manipulate people using religion as a facade is because these persons who have identified themselves as being called of God, they are quick to tell you that you should not criticize them, okay? And they have scriptures to back that up too, that you should not criticize them. There's a man of God just this week, I was telling his congregation that if you collect money from a pastor, God will reduce whatever it is you have. That it is better always and all the time for you to give to pastors. That it is in doing that you will reap bountifully. Even though there was no scripture whatsoever that is cited, but people are already engrossed, And in Nigeria, where the country is not well governed by those who are leading, people fall to religion. And when you fall to religion, they become so vulnerable. These persons who have read the Bible and have a fair knowledge of it are able to use it to manipulate them, because the poor themselves have little or no time to read anything or to acquire any intellectual prowess that will withstand any kind of interpretation. In scripture, they talk about the Berean Christians. Why they were different from the Ephesus, the one in Ephesus and in Corinth, was because they actually, even after Paul, even they believe Paul, when he teaches, they go and check. They check whether truly he's saying what is in line with what he should be teaching them and all that. So that manipulation will continue as long as our educational system is dysfunctional, government is not living up to expectation, the individuals are not ready to upgrade themselves, and these people who fear this palpable fear that is, sprinkled on them. Yes, sprinkled on them by their religious leaders is also the biggest strategy of them all. Then these leaders who exploit these people, they will keep exploiting because God is still on the mercy seat. Unfortunately, he's still on the mercy seat. He has not risen. So they can do anything they want to do as long as both of them have been accused of faking miracles to increase their brand. Yes, to increase their brand and believability that they actually called. They are resorting to self-help. Yes, they are resorting to self-help. Yes. And the public also, they have these people who are ready to help them, assist them to help God. Some give fake testimonies, okay? Just to prove that truly the man of God is called and there's God in the assembly or congregation. So both the people and the clergies, they are all working in criminal concerts, okay? Not all of them though, but largely so. They are all working in criminal concert to delude the Nigerian public and to extricate themselves as the ones who are called by God. Then when you want to disagree with them, they will label you and they will scandalize you with that you are condemned. Now you're antichrist and you're working for the devil. Okay, because you are working for the devil, they can even go as far as laying different kind of stigma on you and all that, the rest of that. So they will blackmail you for not believing in their criminality. They will blackmail you for not supporting whatever it is they are doing to advance the body of Christ, in quote. Okay? So at the end of the day, you don't know which is real and which is fake. But ultimately, the people must test all spirits without their God and design for themselves what they really want. But I think that I agree with your statement that God is inside of us. Okay, but it takes really a work on self to come to that realization where you are right now. It takes a work. I'm not sure 10, 15 years ago you sounded this way. Okay, like God is inside me. Let me search for it from inside and pull it from without. Okay, within. Sorry, pull it from within, not without. Yes. So, but we are all scrapping around looking for God without, not working within.
You remember one pastor, very respected in Nigeria, who once said to live congregation in their gathering that if you don't pay your tithe, you would go to hell, right?
Yeah.
It's not that statement is not written anywhere in the Bible.
It's not anywhere.
And so those of us that are not of his sheep, right, were questioning the statement. Now, where did you get that from? Which God told you? The same merciful God that we read about in the Bible said that if we don't pay our tithe, is it our money that he needs or our heart, commitment and devotion to him? Eventually, because we did not stop talking, this very respected man of God had to take that statement back. Recently, he apologized for that statement and took it back. So, unless and until we, the people, seek God for ourselves, know him the way he truly is, the people who want to manipulate us, as you use the word, or take advantage of our ignorance, will continue to do so.
Very well. Unfortunately, fondly at the same time, the proliferation of houses of worship has even made it worse. And the reason is because it's become a retirement home for so many people. You see an army, a veteran who is tired and has retired. The best option is go set up a church and start it up. You see someone who has worked in Shell or Chevron and he's tired and weak. The next step is to start up a church. You see a young man who is lazy and can't get a job for himself, goes and start up a church. And you see, it's just a proliferation of so many things. And sometimes I get to ask myself, just prior to the elections in the United States of America, I know lots of Nigerian pastors who predicted that Kamala Harris would win the election. And today I ask myself, how do they want their congregation to look at them now? It's one very, very, very big question, a rhetoric one actually.
Prophet.
But of course, they've all come to defend it. Maybe citing one part of the Bible that says we're all humans and therefore we can make mistakes. But if Kamala Harris had won, they would, of course, taking that symbolic strength and value all to themselves. Yes. All right, that's it for my case. But when we return, Juro Olajumoke or Alawode James will emphasize the importance of self-care, self-love, and self-prioritization in relationships. That in a bit. Don't go anywhere.
Middleman.
You're welcome back to The Middleman. My case. Leave for you first. When Annie Idibia announced on reality television that she got pregnant with twins recently or lost the pregnancy, I was going to ask, why are you still getting pregnant for two baba with 7 children? You want him to be paying school fees into his old age? I didn't know there was fire on the mountain. I was going to lie that all I know about this couple is without my consent. But I have had close contact with their relationship. I saw it all from the beginning. Two-Face's relationship with Ben Teshola was widely publicized. She lived in my area, so I saw him come to visit her. When they were dating Annie, I started producing events for television and attended quite a few events where I saw them together. I was stage manager, he was artist. Already big as he had just left the Plantation Boys, and he was around him a lot. I mean, I've been to events in Calabar, Abuja, Edo, where Two-Face was performing, and she would be there. So I was one of the people who was glad to see them end up together. She seemed to truly love him. However, what is true love? How do you know when you've crossed the line to obsession? Who tells you when it becomes unhealthy for you? However much we talk about celebrities and their private lives, the society eventually leaves them to sort themselves out. When Annie cried out about her husband going to see his baby mama in the US without her knowledge, a few years ago, we tabled their matter, munched it, entertained ourselves with their family drama, and eventually moved on to the next trending topic. It will help them with our online chatter. Now the result we see so. Barely 2 years later, divorce. My verdict. Here is where I slot in a few sentences of advice and prayer and then move on my merry way, like many celebrities and the rest of us on social media have been doing. But last, if you live your life for public acceptance, societal pressure, and clout, now you go suffer. I rise.
Yes.
Yeah. This case is one that have been a national, almost like a national issue. People are discussing almost like a national budget or something that if we don't all make comments on it, we may not succeed as a country. I have been wondering why. Well, why is to look at it from the legal standpoint, and I think that is sufficient. I don't like the sociological exploration of that relationship, because marriages are failing every day. We are just talking about this, but this is one popular musician and one popular actress or whatever it is. The issue is this: once parties are not living in amity, like you read the Two-Face statements, they have been separated for a while now. It's been a long time. I mean, since last year. Once parties are not living in amity and the marriage seems to have broken down irretrievably, either party can petition for dissolution. Either party. Okay? Now, Two-Face took the step of bringing that petition. And some women came out and they are grouping themselves into some kind of forces to fight, they turn into a gender battle, almost a gender battle. And they are saying that the guy ought not to have done that, the ladies sacrificed for him, and all that. So many issues. And I was wondering if those same people that are saying that, if Annie had taken the bold step to petition for the resolution, whether they will repeat what they are just saying. Because I've seen cases where when, like Toki Makinwa, for example, who's number one in that lead, when she divorced her husband, she wrote a full book What's her name? The other actress, when he divorced the husband, he came to the public to give an account, almost like delivering a lecture to her Savage. Then the one that got married to Churchy, yes, Tonto Dike, when he divorced the husband, he came up with this campaign, this 2 minutes man campaign, that the whole of Twitter was agog, that the man is a 2 minutes man and the rest of that. This campaign went round and all that. So, but conversely, I don't like defending men or women. I just speak the fact. Now, in this particular case that Two-Face took on this persons who are saying all this, would they say the same thing if I had been the one that took the first step to do this? And so many questions. But the basic line.
Do not forget your point, so that you can use what I want to say for your conclusion. The reason people like Toke Makinwa are against the way it was done, they're not entirely against the dissolution of the marriage. They're just saying that that Annie is struggling currently. She's on a reality show in South Africa. I believe they shoot in South Africa, which young, famous and African. And on that show, was it 2 seasons ago, Two-Face re-proposed to Annie at their 10th anniversary. I think this happened in 2022, where he was saying, make we do another thing.
I know about that.
Yeah. They're saying that whatever it is that is going on between them in private has affected Annie to the extent that we hear that she's in rehab. So while the show is being aired and people are bashing Annie for the way she looks, like she's on drugs, her wig is not placed properly, she's just not looking good, she's acting the victim. Every episode that is aired, Annie is constantly being bashed. The people who know are then claiming that she's in rehab. You ought to know that this is a sensitive time. You have been separated for how long? Nobody knew about it. Why is it at the time when she's being bashed online and she's undergoing her personal struggles that you now decide to put it out to the public? Why can't you wait? For instance, when Toke Makinwa's divorce happened, the first thing that went viral was that her husband slept with someone else and impregnated the lady, making it seem like, Toke is not a wife that is always available to the husband. She's always partying, always going all up. She kept quiet. The husband kept quiet. Both of them didn't talk throughout that ordeal. It was really the online in-laws that were going back and forth. So it's a little different for Toke because her husband kept quiet. Now, after she wrote her book and she told her own truth, the husband also went to court and said, listen, you have lied here, here, here. And he was awarded compensation, meaning that she didn't even tell us the true picture exactly how it was. The difference in Annie's case is, yes, either she or Two-Face can go their separate ways when they want, but is the timing right? Please go ahead, Joeva.
Yes, let me tell you what. Let me tell you why I think the difference is the same. The difference is the same because from the standpoint of the law, either party can take that decision, and either party is not bound by any other consideration other than that the marriage has broken down irretrievably. She's in a TV reality show by choice. I mean, for those who want to speak on the social angle can say he ought to have waited. But the truth is that there's no obligation under the law as to who should, at what condition or at what convenience should you file for dissolution. The truth is that there is nothing convenient about divorce. There is nothing convenient about it. Yeah, because if we are to be in a time where she's not in this, not in that, that would mean that the marriage is working well. So things are not going well. Things are not well, whether she's in rehab or she's in so many. And the truth is that she also she was like number one in the chains of women. Supposedly. But in her very presence, this guy impregnated other women. Yeah, she admitted all these things and even went ahead in 2012 or thereabouts. So now
Marry him.
marry him. And decided to marry him under native law and custom. If she were my sister, I would have advised her as a lawyer that tell him now that he's crazy about this marriage, that you should do marriage under the act, in which case the other women are technically nullified. You understand? Because they will just be hanging.
Dubai law, they did traditional
No,
in Nigeria.
so that's what I'm saying now. They did traditional marriage. They went to Dubai to do the white wedding.
Yes.
Okay. White wedding under the law is traditional marriage.
Are you sure you didn't do civil marriage?
No. There was no marriage under the act. Because if there was marriage under the act, a Two-Face will not be going out to carry more women because the law prohibits that. So she can actually go against him even criminally using bigamy. Even though in Lagos State they're talking about the fact that bigamy has been abolished, but you can bring bigamy in another state. You can bring that in another state to go against it. So
she can bring it up when they had the traditional marriage.
No, you cannot no longer bring the action in a civil court. You can only go and divorce this in a customary court. Okay, because the marriage is contracted under native law and custom. And when a marriage is contracted under native law and custom, the man can go out to marry as many as possible thereafter. But if you marry under the act, the man cannot marry another person. But you can contract another marriage, but it must be with the same woman.
I get what you mean.
Yes, so you can go and contract all the kind of marriages in the world, but must be with Annie if she had gone for that. So at the end of the day, what you have now is that under native law and custom, even if you want to talk about probate and maybe in their afterlife, the children of those other women will come first.
Wow.
Okay, in the scheme of things. Yes, in the scheme of things. Whereas she was 15 when they started or thereabout, and the other was 20 or so. But you see how the turn of events. She actually caved into all this narrative going on. So while I sympathize with her condition and that of the family and the children at large, I think that this is the time for her to put herself together because she's losing it really. You hear her screaming, and she's not in the good place right now. She needs even more than therapy. She needs even medical solutions and psychological solutions, so many kinds of solutions that is going on. But it's not the end of life. That's why you can actually live without anybody. It just takes time to get it.
Yes. All right, very true. I would love to see my own thought from the vantage point of culture, African culture. People might call Two-Face Idibia a philanderer. They might call him a Lothario. They might even call him a Don Juan all they can. But it still remains. A Casanova. Yes, a Casanova. It still boils down on what a man can stand in a house that is called the union between him and the wife, and what he cannot stand with. Because if we take a look at it from where we're coming from, we're Africans, for crying out loud, and it's very important as much as we love to play civil and say marriage is a 50-50 thing, but Africa and our culture makes it not really as it is, but at least we should use our mind to know that, hey, the man is the head of the house and the woman is the helper. Because even if we go about it the religious way, Proverb 2:19 said, and I would love to read this, it is better to live in a corner of the housetop, and it's further stated here, on the flat roof exposed to the weather, than in a house shared with a quarrelsome, contentious woman. Now, this is coming from our faith as a Christian. So, and if we go through the lines... So
she quarrels about contention.
Come on, if you look at the trajectory of where she's coming from, all the tantrums she's been throwing with Two-Face Idibia, it's very explicit that she is very quarrelsome. Okay, she doesn't give the family of Two-Face Idibia the breathing space to come into the house.
I disagree with you. I think that she just couldn't handle her emotions right. All the tantrums is that she loved it too much.
She does what? She loves Two-Face that much?
She said she's not seeing the husband. That anytime he wants to see the husband, there will be one program, one shoot or the other. He's going from one state to the other. He does not see the husband. He has not seen the husband for a long time.
And then he would use the excuse of he's going to see his children. She used to think that maybe something was still happening with him with the other baby mama under the excuse. You know, she collected 2 of his children because one of the baby mamas got married to a pastor and gave them the children. So she now was in charge of 4 of Subaba's 7 children, you know. But under the guise of going to see the other 3 children with the baby mama in the US, she used to suspect that something was still happening between the 2 of them. So all of those tantrums, she's dealing with people who are way older than her. You know, she may not have had the maturity. I don't think she was quarrelsome. She just loved Two-Face too much and couldn't deal with the heartbreak of her own first child being his 5th child.
Okay, so that's the anger.
You know, and him had several other women and all of that.
Okay, so that's why she's vexed. Well, I think it still boils down on the same thing. If you love someone so very much, you have to let them be. You need to let them go. You need to at least give them that freedom to breathe. Love is not micromanaging. Love is not, you know, choking somebody because you love that person so very much. You need to just let them go. Allow the breeze of life to at least blow you small. You know, I think that's what love is all about, really.
First, though, because at the end of everything, everyone will choose themselves. She's saying that she forgave Two-Face all of the things that he did to her. They were dating and he was having children from other women. She still forgave him and married him. One small mistake that she made, because he accused her of focusing more on her reality show than being with him. That there are many times he would be in the hospital all by himself. He's been battling kidney failure for some time, and she wasn't available to him. She's now saying just one mistake and you are now rushing to divorce. It comes back to the title of my case: choose yourself first. Marriage is a good thing if you find your own person who you gel. Their weakness is your own strength, so you can, you know, cover them. Your own weakness is their own strength, and vice versa. They also can cover you. Marriage is a fantastic thing when you're married to your friend and you choose to continually forgive each other any wrongs and, you know, just do this life together. But in the pursuit of that state of happiness, do not do it also wrongly. Put yourself first. They say marriage is 100-100, not 50-50. Ensure that you're living a fantastic life for yourself and the other person whom you choose compliments you. And it goes both ways for men and women. Some men also, when they make money, they're just looking for one woman to take care of the home front and they're not thinking about love. Eventually in their middle age, they realize, why did I marry this woman? You know, but if they chose themselves first, they would have chosen somebody who represented what it is that they wanted their future to look like, the kind of woman they want their children to look like, the kind of woman they want to be trained, their children to be trained by, you know. So choose yourself first. That's it.
Very, very well said. A couple that just celebrated their 70 years in marriage were asked a reason why they lasted that long, and they said it's simply because at every point there were no 2 captains running the ship. Yes, at some point one would head, at the other point another person would come down, and the other person would head the ship, and so on. So
yeah, just a bit trap.
So that's
let us, when we come back,
very
Evans will be diving into his case.
Yes. All right, so when we return, Joe Evans Ufeli will be discussing his case that raises important questions about the role of the police and the impact of their misconduct on individuals, their families, and communities. Don't go anywhere.
My case. Our policemen have gone mad again. The Nigerian police was established in 1930 by the colonial masters to administer civil society and ensure that law and order is preserved for the advancement of the Nigerian society. Recently, we've noticed that the police have completely departed from that original fundamental formation process. and have given to a lot of issues against the same society it was created to protect and preserve. Life and properties no longer mean much to this set of persons in our society, and they have given to taking bribes, twisting the law, misinterpreting concepts, and turning the entire society into confusion. Recently, the police arrested Omoyele Sowore for, calling the IGP an illegal one. The IGP in question, whose term of office had expired a long time ago, was retained by the president of Nigeria, Tinubu. And they have been called from many quarters that this is wrong, and that act should not be condoned any longer, and that there should be a new IG that will lead the Nigerian police force according to law. The police have also gone into interpreting Section 24 of the Cybercrime Act and turning it on its head by, interpreting the law in such a way that we leave this society more confused. Section 24 of the Cybercrime Act was specifically enacted to fight against cyber stalking and using the internet for criminal activities and activities that are not befitting for Nigerian society. That's exactly what it is. But that Cybercrime Act has been misinterpreted to mean it is a law that can be used to prosecute every dissenting voice, every voice of criticism, every voice of human rights, every voice of activism and advocacy. And that is not what that section is addressing at all. So there is a need for this society to understand the import of Section 24 of the Cybercrime Act. And the police, have now drawn interpretation from that to mean that Omoyele Sowore, contravened that provision of the law. That he used the internet to cyber stalk the IGP. And that interpretation is going round. Today, he has been arraigned, on the basis of that 16 count charges that have no bearing in law, that have no particular reference to the strict application of the Cybercrime Act or any criminal law at all in the country. It is not criminal to record policemen. There's nothing in our law that says you cannot record policemen while they are on their checkpoint or their post or their beat carrying out their function. It is not illegal for you to confront policemen who are causing traffic jam in the name of roadblock and collecting money and extorting people and collecting gratification on the highway, on the subways, and there's nothing in our law that says citizens cannot confront the police to do the right thing. Nothing in our laws. There's nothing in our laws that say that the policemen who go on the road, to hide somewhere to look for faults, look for motorists that will run across the road so that they will come around and arrest them and collect money from them. There's nothing in our law that says citizens cannot confront them and ask them to stop that. There's nothing in our law that says so. My verdict. It is high time we understood that the citizen's voice is the hallmark of the protection of the Nigerian society. We must all raise our voice and condemn what is wrong. What all of us collectively should be doing is what Ole Sowore is doing. And at all points, we must ensure that the police that are originally meant to guide society, they do that job, and the people must complement by making sure that they raise their voices whenever the police go out of the confines of that duty. I shall go to Rabbi again.
Great one.
If only I knew this yesterday, I would have stopped the policemen that were causing traffic on the highway. They were only stopping for whatever reasons, and there was a long traffic jam behind them on the highway.
That is illegal.
I mean, but if I go and face them now and they say that the market was short, people will ask, that girl safe. What's our own?
She don't do.
What we know the police for doing. And where I agree with your verdict is where you said that Showore is doing what all of us ought to be doing. You see, when one person is saying something, it's easy to point them out and arrest them. If all of us are saying exactly what Showore is saying, are they going to arrest the whole populace? Which is when people ask me, how do you hold your government accountable? We, the people, have to decide what is right, what is wrong to us, and then cross it. 250 million voices saying the same thing, you know, it will push any government, it will push the world. If Nigerians stand united, saying the same thing, asking for good governance, asking for our rights, you know. But then again, you know me, I will always attack the messenger. Showore will be attacking Peter Obi rather than attacking the government that is failing. Showore was jubilating when President Buhari was elected.
Yes.
Showore has been accused and alleged of all sorts of things, working for politicians.
He has since repented from that.
He has repented.
Yes, from President Buhari.
Maybe like Isaiah, or was it Josiah? There was one prophet that was well punished by God. You know, after he had, same thing happened to Paul actually. You know, when he combated, you know, from Saul, that you are prosecuted by people, they will also beat you, and you are well beaten. So maybe he is collecting beating for all the past wrongs that he did. But I absolutely agree with your verdict. The Nigerian police, it looks like, because they were created as a force, they only know how to use force, right? Each government comes into power and sort of maintain them with all of this alleged criminalities attached to their name, because as far as it works for the political elite, as far as they have them as ADCs and or whatnot, you know, bodyguards, they don't care what they're doing to the citizens. But it usually comes full circle where, you know, whatever monster you created eventually consumes you. You know, a just society should be a society that everyone can access justice. It cannot be that justice is only for the rich. And when it's a poor person, you start to read the law. It is criminal to steal a chicken. Is it not criminal for somebody to steal half of the funds made for social infrastructure? You now start begging them, pre-bargaining, oh yeah, bring some of the money, we'll allow you go. You know, that's not a just society. And if we, the people, continue to enable it when it is our people in power, my own thief, better than yours. You say, why is Tinubu doing this? They say, when Buhari was there, did he not do worse? If we keep on justifying the wrongs that our political elites do because it benefits us, the minions, the Iraqs, you know, that are paid by the people currently in power, we create a vicious cycle of an unjust society. The police cannot start to read acts or laws that are not existing, you know, to perpetuate themselves in criminality or oppress the citizenry. You know, you hear the IG say funny things. You hear commissioners of police say, they can wear masks when they come into your house. Oh, they don't need the warrants to barge into your house. There are all sorts of funny things. If you remember the things they were saying when this EFC official that barged into someone's house in Anambra was shot there, you know, to defend themselves. You cannot do that. You cannot continue to shift the goalpost when your people do wrong, you know.
Yes, very true. It was Elon Musk that said free speech can only be defined when people you do not like are allowed to say things you do not like. That was his definition of free speech. And as we speak, IGP Kayode Egbetokun is currently in Kigali, in Rwanda, to partner African countries to combat crime. So they say charity starts from home, but he is in Kigali. It's actually a very funny one. I don't know. It's becoming a perennial issue right now in Nigeria. As much as we try to make fun of it, it's a very sensitive and very serious issue that is really depleting our society, debasing our community, because the police are actually supposed to be the anchor point of everyone whenever you have issues. I truly do remember many decades ago, when you travel and you don't have a place to stay, you can just run to the police station and they give you a rest there.
You know, don't try it, especially if you have money.
But now you can't do it anymore, so it's a very big issue. All right, that's just about the time we have for today, The Middleman. I would love to believe you enjoyed our show just like I did right here, and also for our viewers who have joined us virtually via Zoom. I want to say thank you to you, but please do well to visit us. You can always find and reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may equally like, comment, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. Thank you so very much, Juro Olajumoke Alawode James. Thank you. And also Juro Evans Ofeli. Thank you all, as always.
Thank you very much.
All right, I am Henry. I am Henry Igwebike. Thank you for watching. We'll see you on our next episode of The Middleman. Bye-bye.